letter that she wrote? Okay, I'm the woman from the satanic cult abduction case on Halloween. I'm scared to death of them finding out who I am, so I'm not coming forward. The only person I'm ever going to tell is my brother. By the way, she jumped in the car and drove into Oakland and called her brother. Her brother came and picked her up. She was in the nude, by the way. She had no clothes on. He thinks would be best if I stay anonymous, but he has convinced me to write down everything I remember exactly as I can and send it to the police. So this is what I'm doing. They were going to rape and murder me, and I hope they get caught. People need to know what's happened to me. I'm so scared they will find out who I am. I'm writing on an old typewriter, so it won't be on my hard drive. It started Saturday night. I was walking across the parking lot in Oakland. 4 guys got out of a car and grabbed me. They gave me a shot with a hypodermic needle in my thigh. I was unconscious for seconds. When I woke up, I had handcuffs on behind my back. My feet were tied together. The handcuffs were tied to something I couldn't move. They put tape over my eyes and my mouth. I didn't know where I was or how long I was there. I was thirsty and felt like I couldn't breathe. I had to go to the bathroom. I was terrified. I laid there and thought about what had happened to me over a long period of time. I'm not a religious person, but I prayed for the first time in my life for God to save me. I went to sleep and dreamed. In a dream, I saw a big white dog. It sat down, turned its head sideways, and looked at me. I felt like the dog was a girl dog, and she came to help me. I can't explain it any other way. Then I got up and ran away. I don't know why I'm even saying this. It just seems weird and real. I woke up again. I had to go to the bathroom so bad I finally gave up and urinated in my pants. It was awful. Then it was wet and cold. After a long time, I heard noises like a car door opening, and a couple of guys grabbed me. One guy said, "Bitch, pissed on the floor." The other guy said something like, "Shut up, clean it up, and load the stuff in." I'm pretty sure now I was in the back of a van. They took me into a search or something, or in the house or something. The guy said, "If you cooperate, we won't hurt you. If you struggle, we will kill you." Is that understood? I nodded my head yes. "What could I do?" he said. Would you like something to drink? I nodded yes. And they took the tape off my mouth and gave me some water or something. It tasted funny. They started to take my clothes off, and I was sure they were going to rape me. The guy said, "Just relax, we're going to give you a bath now." They guided me into a bathtub and washed me all over with a cloth and shampooed my hair. I was really scared. It was weird. They dried me off and blew my hair dry with a blower dryer and a brush. They put tape back on my mouth and put a white terry cloth robe on me. They set me down on the chair. I couldn't see anything because the tape on my eyes. I could hear voices in another room. I was getting pretty sleepy. I think that there was something in the water they gave me. Then a couple of guys got to me. They took me out and put me in the back of the van and drove away. I knew there were other people in the van, but they didn't talk. They just played this loud, instrumental, heavy metal music. They drove me for a long time. I felt very sleepy. After a long time, the van stopped. The couple got me out. My feet were bare, and I was standing in dirt. I heard a lot of people talking quietly. I heard clicking noises in the van. A guy beside me said, "What are you doing?" The other guy said, "Getting ready for sanitizing after." The first guy said, "Dude, we haven't had the party yet." I thought it was so weird I remembered it. Then I heard a woman's voice say, "This is the sacrifice." She untied my robe and put her hands on my breasts. She said, how did she test? A guy said, "Perfectly." She put her body next to me. I could feel her. She was naked. She said to my ear, "I'm going to drink your blood." I felt suddenly very sick. I started to collapse. A big guy picked me up and walked with me. Then they set me down and took off the handcuffs. They tied my hands and arms and put a rope around my neck. They took the tape off my eyes. I was in the forest. They had tied me to a tree or something. I was so scared I was shaking. I knew I was going to die. 4 naked women walked to me. One was wearing chains with rings in her nipples. and she had a big knife. She ripped the tape off my mouth and touched my breast with the knife. Then she jabbed at my face repeatedly with the knife. I was terrified. I wanted to kill her, the bitch. They tied the rope opening behind me. They touched me. I don't want to be graphic, but they did sexual things to me. They made me have an orgasm. Then they did things to each other and masturbated and had wild orgasms. The bitches. This was the worst awful woman were doing this to me. I hope they all get terminal disease and rot in hell. Some guys unrolled a big plastic sheet in front of me and made a fire. It was getting dark. A bunch of people gathered in front of me. They were all naked and they started chanting some weird language. A man came and stood in front of me. He was older than the others, maybe 30. He was over 6 feet tall and a real lean build. His hair was almost black, so so was his beard. He had weird eyes. Somebody was behind me and pulled the rope tight on my neck. He had his hands on my breast. I stared at him. He stared at me and never blinked. I couldn't help looking into his eyes. It was like hypnosis. He put me in a trance. It was like staring at a snake. He began to put his penis in me. Then I heard him loud yelling and guns shooting. The snake-eye man jerked away from me and stood looking through the forest towards the noise. Everybody ran to the trees. The snake man poured water on the fire and walked away quietly. Then I heard him say, "Kill her." A naked man came forward towards me with a knife. A man came running up with a silver gun and shot him right in the front of me. He was big and tall, old man, and he had a white beard. That's John Van Meter, by the way. That's the one that was tried. And he had a white beard. I heard a loud bang behind me. I saw the shot hit the old man in the side of his stomach and knocked him down. He shot back multiple times while laying down and got up, started cutting the rope on my arms and with the knife. Somebody else shot at us, and the man shot back. Then he said something like, "Hold on, girl, I'll get you loose," or something. I fell down. The man picked me up with his arms around my waist and walked away fast. He shot me his gun twice and yelled very loud, "No more harm will come to this girl." Then he said something about coming straight from God to kill them all. He called them sons of bitches and said he was going to kill them all. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I think he scared them. Nobody shouted at us anymore. We got in the car and on the road. I think he asked me if I could drive. I said yes. He put me in a car and said something fast things. And he put me in the car and said some fast things to me. All I really heard was "Go home and stay anonymous." I couldn't believe he was going with me. Wasn't going with me. I couldn't believe I was going to live when I was so sure I was going to die before. He wanted me to go, but I asked him, "Are you an angel?" End quote. I'll never forget his eyes. He had blood on his face, but his eyes glowed brightly blue, like they were fluorescent or something. He said, "No, but one sent me to you." He said, "Now go, I'll call the cops," and slammed the door. I hated to leave him. I felt safe with him. I don't know why he wasn't going to go with me. I drove as fast as I could. I almost ran off the road a couple of times. I don't know where I was. Even when I finally got to the highway, I went the wrong way until I realized where I was and turned around and went home. When I really got home, it was really late. I was still shaking and I had blood on me where the wounded old man carried me. I felt sick for him. I found out later that nobody would even knew I was gone. I couldn't believe it. I was hurt by it until I realized it was my own fault. Then with this was the payback for all the times I fought with my parents over them wanting to know where I was going every minute. I hope the newspaper prints this so I could say to the kids, stop fighting with your parents. There is a reason why they want you to know where you are. My brother and I took the car and parked it in Berkeley. He said he'd call the cops and tell them where it was. We looked at it to see if we could find any who belonged to it. It was weird. There was nothing in the glove box or ashtray. No litter on the floor, nothing. Nobody's car is this clean. The only thing in it was 4 black sweatshirts and 4 black sweatpants, all identical. We opened the trunk, and all that was in there was a used syringe. Then it hit me. This red Pontiac was the car the guy got out of who abducted me. They must have put me in the trunk. We're going to have the syringe tested to see what they shot me with. Also, when I was showering, I noticed a painful needle mark in my forearm. Then I remembered how one bitch said, "How did she test?" They drew blood from me while I was unconscious to test for what, AIDS? Then I remembered how that guy said exactly perfect, and I wondered if it was something else. They really scared me. I'm really sick and frightened for the man who saved me. I don't have a TV and haven't been calm enough to watch for anybody else, with anybody else. My wonderful brother has been on the run and hadn't heard anything definite either. I learned last night how you can tell a lot about a man who's looking real close into his eyes. The snake man and the old man who saved me were exactly opposite. You can see it in their eyes. What I remember most of this is the shiny blue eyes of the man who saved me. He reminded me of my late grandfather. I want him to live because he's a good man who somehow miraculously saved me, and because I went down to write in the newspaper and explained to me why he looked like my grandfather. I can't think of him dying, and I'm scared to death of what's going to happen. I know now why he stayed there. He was mad as hell, and he wanted to kill them. My grandfather had a bad temper, too, for bad people. I hope he does kill them. I know these snakes did this before to others like me, and if they live, they will do it again. I especially want the snake eye man to die. I never want to see him again, ever. People like this can't be rehabilitated in prison. I can never forgive them. It took me all afternoon and all night to write this. I hope it makes sense to someone, whoever reads it. I had to take a lot of breaks before crying. The sun would be up soon, and it would be another day. My brother is leaving soon to mail this away from my home. I don't even want these snakes to know the zip code I live in. Then he's going out to the forest where I think I was to look for the man who saved me. I'm going to stay home and pray for God to save this man who saved me. I hope we will save the man. He will save the man who is sent to do this. I don't know if this will help catch the snakes who tried to rape and kill me. I tried hard to remember anything I could. I'm still so shaken up, I can't think I'll ever be normal again. That's it. There's 50 to 60,000 human sacrifices a year by satanic cults in this country. Okay, I have that from very reliable sources, 3 different satanic sources.
Okay, now you could check the rest out for yourself. You know what I mean? That dude right there was an FBI agent. I believe he was the chief actually at one point. You know what I mean? And see, y'all want to play. There's people, they're not playing with you. Okay? So you want to run around and bust little 19-year-olds with counterfeit bills and shit like that. This dude, whenever you look into his story, okay, you will really understand what it is that you are dealing with. So why don't y'all go do some real fucking? Why don't y'all go really do some real heroic shit and cut the bullshit, man. Or not, whatever, you know. But people like me, I'm the one who is like the dude who saved that woman. Except I'm not saying that anybody was shot or I shot anybody or anything like that. So don't take what I say out of context. You know what the hell I mean. Okay? So that's the stuff that I'm on.